Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the live econ guy. So, when will real estate crash? When will there be a major housing correction? When will the crash happen? That's what a lot of people are asking today. A lot of people think that the Federal Reserve is hiking interest rates, which will eventually lead to that housing crash, similar to what we've seen in 2008 and other crashes that happened before that. Guys, I want to give you my opinion about what's going to happen. A lot of people are also asking, will the Fed pivot? When will they pivot? When will they stop tightening monetary policy? When will they go back to accommodative policy? I just want to share this graph with you guys. It's from the Federal Reserve website. It's median sales price of houses sold in the United States. As you could see in the recent years, the median price of housing went up a lot. So there is space for a correction for what I think, and what the Federal Reserve also kind of mentioned. There will be a kind of a small correction. I think what will happen is in the major cities where housing spiked the most, cities like Boise, Idaho, amongst as well as others, where houses just spiked in value, like 50% increase over the last 2 years. Yeah, those will have a correction over time. I think it won't be necessarily a crash because prices increased so much. Even if they do fall, let's say 20% in the next year or so, that's not necessarily a crash because they gained all this value. It's mostly a small correction. So going back to kind of a reasonable price that they should be at. What I think will happen broadly across the country, as far as median prices are concerned, I think there will be slow bleeding over time, over the next 2 to 3 years, because I think the Fed will pivot. So they will pivot once they see that something broke, they can't continue tightening. What they're going to do is they're going to start to be more accommodative. And I don't mean accommodative as in they're going to start lowering interest rates. I think they're going to freeze interest rates and they're going to keep them frozen at a fixed rate for a long time, for 1 to 2 years at least. And that's what they're saying. They want to elevate rates and keep them elevated for a long time, for a longer period of time. So they're going to do that, and essentially, I think they're going to continue to sell mortgage-backed securities and, not sell. For now, they're allowing them to roll off. They're going to continue to allow them to roll off or even sell some of them, and they're going to use their balance sheet to continue, controlling monetary policy. But interest rates are going to freeze. So essentially, what that's going to do is it's going to allow for that slow bleeding over time, and I think that's a good thing because crashes, they're bad for the economy because the housing market is just so important for the economy. Just having a stable price that people can, buy a home, can afford a home. So I think in the bigger cities where prices spike the most, the I guess you could say the rate of the bleeding will be higher than in the rest of the cities. And I just want to go back to this graph, guys. Take a look at 2008. I mean, median home prices didn't really drop that much, although everyone remembers 2008 as this like catastrophic event where everything just crashed so hard. But if you could tell, median home prices peaked at 257,000, and like the bottom of the crash, it was 208,000, or yeah, 208,000. So not that much of a crash in terms of median home prices. So what that means, if we look at it, is that the biggest crashes happened in places where prices spiked the most. But in remote areas, like if you look at maybe Oklahoma or a state like South Dakota, prices didn't really change much. So I think that's what's going to happen in 2022, 23, and even 2024, is that prices in the places where, cities and states where they spike the most, there will be a more steep rate of bleeding. and where things didn't really spike so much, where prices stayed kind of consistent, there will be bleeding, but it will be much slower. And I think it'll happen over the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the housing market. I don't think there will be a major crash because supply is low, although it's low not because there's not enough houses to house people. It's mainly low because investors over the past 2 or even over the past decade have been heavily invested, have been heavily investing in houses. So it's been a good investment vehicle. So that's where people have been putting their money in and essentially getting returns. But in 2022 and 23, investors might start reconsidering and considering other investment vehicles, because if you watch my previous video about is housing affordable, you'll see that with these elevated rates, investing in housing and renting it to essentially renters is not the best returns on investment. So that's my opinion, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.